You don't feel drained for no reason. It's not just stress. It's not just life. It's people, the wrong ones. The ones who smile in front of you, but weaken you slowly. Energy is contagious. So is chaos. And if you don't guard your inner world, someone else will control it. Today, we expose them. Because peace is not accidental. It is protected. Stay with me. There is a silent war happening every day. Not outside, but in the inside. And often, the greatest threat to our clarity, discipline, and emotional stability is the company we keep. We cannot always change people, but we can choose proximity. Here are 10 types of toxic people we must learn to walk away from. Not with hatred, but with discipline. 1. The constant victim. Nothing is ever their fault. Responsibility is foreign to them, and blame spreads like smoke. You know this person. Maybe you've even been this person at some point. Something goes wrong. It's the boss, the economy, their childhood, their partner, the system, the timing. It's always something outside of them. They can explain every failure in detail. They can justify every mistake, but they never say the hardest words. I was wrong. In today's world, this mindset is common. Social media rewards outrage. News cycles highlight injustice. Online debates turn everyone into critics. It becomes easy to see yourself as constantly wronged. And sometimes, life truly is unfair. But here's the danger. When you live as a constant victim, you give away your power. Blame feels relieving in the moment. It protects your ego. It softens embarrassment. It gives you a story where you are innocent. But long term, it keeps you stuck. If nothing is your fault, nothing is in your control. That's the real trap. Blame spreads like smoke. It clouds judgment. It damages relationships. It pushes away people who are tired of carrying responsibility for someone who won't carry their own. The solution is simple, but not easy. Radical ownership. Ask, what part did I play? Even if it's small, even if it hurts your pride, responsibility is not about self-hate. It's about self-control. When you take ownership, you gain options. You can adjust, improve, learn, grow. In modern times, where excuses are loud and accountability is rare, ownership becomes strength. Life is not always fair, but growth begins the moment you stop asking, who can I blame? And start asking, what can I change? Because the person who takes responsibility stops being a victim and starts becoming powerful. 2. The energy drainer. Every conversation feels heavy. You leave exhausted, not uplifted. You don't notice it at first. It starts as a normal conversation, but somehow it always turns negative. Complaints, gossip, problems with no intention to solve them. The same stories, the same drama, the same blame. And when you walk away, you feel tired. Not physically, emotionally. In today's world, where stress is already high, rising costs, work pressure, constant news, non-stop notifications, your energy is limited. You are already carrying enough. So when someone consistently adds emotional weight without adding value, it drains you. Energy drainers don't always mean harm. Sometimes they're just stuck. Sometimes they're unaware, but the effect is real. You start dreading calls. You avoid messages. You feel guilty for needing space. The problem is not empathy. It's lack of boundaries. If every conversation is heavy, you slowly normalize negativity. Your mindset shifts. Your motivation drops. You start thinking in problems instead of solutions. And over time, that environment shapes you. The solution is awareness and limits. First, notice the pattern. Do you feel lighter or heavier after talking to them? That answer matters. Second, reduce exposure. You don't need dramatic cutoffs. Just shorter conversations, less emotional involvement. Redirect topics toward solutions, not endless venting. Third, protect your energy with balance. Surround yourself with people who inspire, encourage, and challenge you in healthy ways. You cannot grow in constant negativity. In modern life, energy is currency. Where you spend it determines your future. Choose people who add light, not just noise. Because your peace is not selfish. It's necessary. 3. The envious friend. They applaud quietly, compete secretly. At first, it feels normal. They congratulate you. They smile. They say they're proud of you. But something feels off. The energy shifts when you talk about your wins. The compliments are short. The support feels forced. And when you struggle, they seem slightly more comfortable. In today's world, comparison is constant. Social media shows promotions, travels, new businesses, new bodies, new relationships, all curated and polished. Even friends compare silently. Success is no longer private. It's public, visible, measurable. And envy grows quietly in those who feel behind. The problem with the envious friend isn't loud hatred. It's subtle competition. They may downplay your achievements, change the subject, offer backhanded compliments, or secretly hope you fail just enough to stay relatable. That energy is heavy. You start shrinking your success to protect their feelings. You hesitate to share good news. You dim your light to keep the peace. And over time, you feel unsupported, even in moments that should feel joyful. The solution is clarity, not paranoia. First, observe patterns, not isolated moments. Everyone has insecure days. But repeated subtle negativity reveals deeper issues. Second, protect your growth. You don't need to hide your progress, but you also don't need to overshare with those who can't celebrate you fully. Third, upgrade your circle intentionally. Surround yourself with people who are inspired by your success, not threatened by it. People who clap loudly and mean it. In modern times, where comparison fuels insecurity, genuine support is rare. Real friends don't compete with your growth. They're motivated by it. And if someone's applause feels quiet and their competition feels loud, believe the pattern and adjust your distance accordingly. 4. The chronic complainer. They see problems in solutions, darkness in daylight. You suggest an idea, they list 5 reasons it won't work. You share good news, they find a hidden downside. You talk about opportunity, they talk about risk. It doesn't matter what the topic is. Somehow, it bends toward negativity. In today's world, complaining is almost a social language. People bond over shared frustration, traffic, politics, money, work stress, relationships. News cycles amplify crisis. Social media rewards outrage. Negativity spreads faster than hope. The chronic complainer lives in that frequency. The problem is not that they notice flaws. Awareness is useful. The problem is that they never move past it. There is no action, no ownership, no solution seeking, just constant fault finding. And it affects you more than you think. Spend enough time around constant negativity, and your mindset shifts. You become more cautious, more doubtful, less optimistic. Your ideas shrink before they even begin. You start seeing limits before possibilities. It's emotional erosion, the hardest part. Chronic complainers often think they're just being realistic. But realism without action is just disguised pessimism. The solution begins with boundaries. You don't need to argue with them. You don't need to fix them. But you do need to protect your mental environment. Redirect conversations toward solutions. Ask, so what can we do about it? If they resist growth consistently, limit exposure. At the same time, check yourself. Make sure you're not slipping into the same habit. Catch complaints early. Replace them with responsibility. In modern life, problems are everywhere, but so are opportunities. Choose to be around people who see daylight, not just darkness, because your mindset shapes your future, and constant complaining builds nothing. 5. The manipulator. They twist words, rewrite history, make you question your own perception. At first, it's subtle. You remember a conversation clearly. They said one thing. Now they insist they said another. You bring up something that hurt you, and somehow the focus shifts. Now you're the problem. Now you're too sensitive. Now you're overthinking. And slowly, you begin to doubt yourself. In today's world, where communication happens through texts, voice notes, screenshots, and edited narratives, manipulation has become easier to hide. Words can be reframed. Context can be removed. Stories can be reshaped. The manipulator thrives in confusion. The problem is not just dishonesty. It's psychological control. When someone constantly twists reality, your confidence weakens. You replay conversations in your head. You second-guess your memory. You apologize for things you didn't do. Over time, your self-trust erodes. And without self-trust, you become easier to control. That's the emotional damage. Manipulators often avoid direct lies. They use half-truths, deflection, guilt, silence. They turn every issue into your flaw. And because you want peace, you start questioning yourself instead of questioning the pattern. The solution begins with awareness. Notice repeated reality shifts. Notice how often you leave conversations confused instead of clear. Healthy communication may involve disagreement, but it does not leave you doubting your sanity. Second, document patterns privately. Not to attack, but to anchor yourself in truth. When you see consistency in manipulation, your clarity strengthens. Third, set boundaries. Calmly state facts. Refuse to argue about distorted versions of reality. If manipulation continues, distance becomes necessary. In modern relationships, clarity is power. Trust your perception. Verify when needed. But do not surrender your inner compass to someone who benefits from your confusion. Because once you lose trust in yourself, you lose your foundation. Protect it fiercely. 6. The opportunist. Present when you rise. Absent when you fall. You notice the pattern over time. When things are going well, when you get promoted, launch something new, level up, gain attention, they are suddenly close. They message more. They show up more. They support loudly. But when you struggle, when you fail, when you disappear to rebuild, so do they. In today's world, where success is visible and status is currency, opportunists are common. Social media makes it easy to attach to rising momentum. People want proximity to growth, influence, and advantage. Being connected to someone who is winning feels beneficial. But loyalty is tested in loss, not in success. The problem with the opportunist isn't obvious betrayal. It's conditional presence. Their support depends on your status. Their energy rises with your visibility and fades with your vulnerability. Emotionally, this hurts deeper than open conflict. Because you thought they were genuine. You shared your journey. You believed the support was mutual. Then, during your hardest season, the silence reveals the truth. The solution is awareness without bitterness. Observe who checks in when there is nothing to gain. Notice who stays consistent when you're quiet, rebuilding, or struggling. True allies value you, not your momentum. Second, stop over-investing in those who only appear during your highs. Keep relationships balanced. Guard your inner circle carefully. Third, become the opposite. Be present for others in both seasons. Build relationships rooted in character, not convenience. In modern life, attention follows success, but loyalty follows struggle. Success attracts many. Adversity reveals the few. Choose to build your circle around those who stay when applause fades. Because when the spotlight turns off, you'll see clearly who was there for you, and who was only there for the shine. 7. The drama addict. Peace feels boring to them. Chaos feels alive. You notice it quickly. When things are calm, they stir something up. A small misunderstanding becomes a full argument. A harmless comment becomes a personal attack. Silence becomes suspicion. Somehow, there is always a crisis, and strangely, they seem energized by it. In today's world, drama is entertainment. Social media thrives on controversy. News cycles highlight conflict. Reality shows normalize emotional explosions. Chaos gets attention. Peace gets ignored. For the drama addict, calm feels empty. Stability feels dull. They are so used to emotional highs and lows that balance feels uncomfortable. The problem is not passion. It's addiction to intensity. Constant chaos keeps adrenaline high. It creates urgency. It makes relationships feel exciting. But over time, it becomes exhausting for everyone around them. You start walking on eggshells. You overthink your words. You brace yourself for the next unnecessary conflict. Your nervous system never fully relaxes. That's the hidden cost. Peace is not boring. It's healthy. But to someone conditioned by constant stimulation, peace feels unfamiliar, even threatening. So they create problems to feel alive. The solution begins with boundaries. Do not reward drama with emotional overreaction. Stay calm. Refuse to escalate. Redirect conversations toward resolution instead of reaction. If chaos continues, limit your access to it. At the same time, check yourself. Make sure you're not mistaking healthy stability for lack of excitement. Mature relationships are steady, not explosive. In modern culture, chaos is loud, peace is quiet. Choose quiet strength. Because while drama may feel alive in the moment, it slowly drains everything real. And the strongest lives are built not on emotional storms, but on steady ground. 8. The disrespecter. Subtle insults. Passive aggression. Testing your boundaries. It rarely starts loud. It's the small joke that doesn't feel like a joke. The sarcastic comment disguised as just being honest. The eye roll, the tone. The backhanded compliment. You feel it in your chest before you can explain it. In today's world, disrespect often hides behind humor, brutal honesty, or online culture where roasting and sarcasm are normalized. People push limits to see what they can get away with. They test your boundaries quietly, step by step. And if you say nothing, the behavior grows. The problem with the disrespecter is not always open hostility. It's erosion. Over time, subtle insults chip away at your confidence. Passive aggression makes you question whether you're overreacting. You begin adjusting yourself to avoid tension. You shrink to keep peace. That's the danger. Disrespect, when tolerated, becomes permission. Emotionally, it creates confusion. You replay conversations in your head. Was that intentional? Am I too sensitive? Meanwhile, they continue pushing the line because no line was enforced. The solution begins with clarity. First, trust your internal signal. If something feels off repeatedly, it probably is. Second, address it calmly and directly. Not with anger, but with firmness. I didn't appreciate that comment. Please don't speak to me that way. Boundaries do not require volume. They require consistency. If the behavior continues, reduce access. Not everyone deserves unlimited proximity to you. Distance is sometimes the most powerful response. In a culture that often blurs respect and entertainment, protecting your dignity is an act of strength. You teach people how to treat you, not by what you demand, but by what you tolerate. Respect is not dramatic. It is steady, and it starts with how you defend your own standards. 9. The comfort keeper. They discourage growth, mock discipline, celebrate mediocrity. At first, they seem supportive. Relax. Why are you working so hard? Life is short. Just enjoy it. It sounds harmless, friendly, even. But slowly, you notice something deeper. Every time you try to level up, wake up earlier, build a business, train harder, learn new skills, they subtly pull you back. They laugh at your routines. They question your ambition. They normalize staying the same. In today's world, comfort is heavily marketed. Endless scrolling, instant delivery, fast dopamine. Convenience is king. Growth, on the other hand, is uncomfortable. It requires sacrifice. It requires saying no. It requires discipline when nobody is watching. The comfort keeper feels threatened by that. Your discipline exposes their excuses. Your growth highlights their stagnation. So instead of rising with you, they try to keep you at their level. The problem isn't rest. Rest is healthy. The problem is celebrating mediocrity as if it's wisdom, mocking ambition as if it's foolish, turning laziness into a personality. Emotionally, this creates doubt. You start wondering, am I doing too much? Should I just slow down? That hesitation is where dreams quietly die. The solution is awareness and quiet strength. First, stop seeking validation from people who don't value growth. Not everyone will understand your standards. That's okay. Second, build proximity to people who challenge you, not coddle you. Environment shapes expectations. And most importantly, learn to be comfortable being misunderstood. Growth will always look extreme to those who choose comfort. In modern culture, comfort is loud. Discipline is quiet. Choose quiet, because the life you want lives on the other side of discomfort, and not everyone is meant to walk that path with you. 10. The two-faced ally. Loyal in private, different in public. When you're alone with them, they support you. They agree with your ideas. They praise your courage. But in public, their tone shifts. They stay silent when you're criticized. They laugh at jokes made at your expense. And you feel it instantly, that quiet sting in your chest. In today's world, image is everything. Social media, group chats, workplace politics. People protect their reputation at all costs. Some would rather blend in than stand up. They value acceptance from the crowd more than loyalty to a friend. That's where the two-faced ally thrives. The problem is not disagreement. Mature people can disagree openly. The problem is inconsistency. They present one version of themselves in private and another in public. This creates confusion. You begin questioning your bond. Was the support real? Or was it just convenient when no one was watching? Emotionally, this erodes trust. You start feeling alone even in the same room. You censor yourself. You shrink your voice to avoid embarrassment. And that's dangerous. The solution begins with observation. Don't ignore patterns. One moment may be awkward. Repeated moments reveal character. Second, address it calmly. I noticed you said something different earlier. Give them space to clarify. Sometimes fear drives behavior, but pay attention to whether actions change. If inconsistency continues, adjust your access. Loyalty is not proven in private conversations. It is proven under social pressure. In modern culture, many people are brave behind closed doors. Few are brave in public. Choose relationships with those who remain steady in both spaces. Because real loyalty does not depend on the audience. It stands the same whether the room is full or empty. Now reflect honestly. Which of these have you tolerated for too long? And more importantly, have you ever been one of them? Growth begins when we examine both. Tell me in the comments. What type of toxic energy are you choosing to remove from your life starting today? Let's choose peace deliberately.